Hello and welcome to that Eurovision site, Eurovision with a Slice of Life. It's Jazzi here and I am joined by Pete from Lord of the Lost, who will be taking part in Germany's Eurovision national final, Unser for Liverpool 2023 with the song Blood and Glitter. I would just like to start things off by asking you to please introduce yourself.
Well, you introduced me, but I can do that again. Well, my name is... That's the thing with English language. Usually when I speak English, I say pie because that's how you pronounce it, because it always raises questions when you say, my name is P. And usually people think they are very creative then with jokes when they're not. And I'm fine with that. But yeah, I'm Pi. Nice to meet you all. I play guitar in a band called Lord of the Lost. And as you said, we are in the German preliminaries for Eurovision with our song Blood and Glitter from our album Blood and Glitter. We're from Hamburg. Yeah.
So before we continue...
Thanks for having me.
So, yeah. So for Eurovision fans, this will be the first time that they get to know you. Could you just tell a bit more about the band and how the band all came together? And
sure.
I've read you've been together since 2007, so I imagine it's quite a story.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this band exists for a few years now. As you said, the idea was formed in 2007 by our singer Chris. As a band, this band exists since 2009. That's when there was like a live band setting, so the band was able to play live. And over the years, there have been some lineup changes as well. If you Google our band, you will see some different faces from earlier on. This band, as it exists now, with Chris, Jared, Klaas, Nick, and myself, we're together since 2017. Yeah, and from the very beginning, and I'm very, very lucky to say that, very, very privileged. It hasn't been like this kind of rising success and then staying at whatever top. It's always been increasing and increasing over the years. And for the past few years, we've been able to play a lot of international tours as well. We've toured with Iron Maiden last year. We will tour with Iron Maiden this year, again in the UK mainly. We've played our very own few European shows, European tours, I should say. The last one last fall, which was very, very successful. We've been to countries we've never been to before as headliners, which was really cool. We have 8 studio albums out now. The last one being Blood and Glitter, which got to #1 on the album charts in Germany, which was very unexpected for us, but happened. Apart from that, really, we have other albums as well. If you go into our discography on Spotify, for example, we have these Swan Songs albums, which are like a side project of the band, but it's the same band. And we're doing our own songs that already exists, and they're being rearranged into like classical compositions with strings and orchestra in general. But we also write songs only for that. And we have 3 Swan Songs albums out now. We have live albums out. So there's been some history, and we have quite the back catalog and quite the experience when it comes to making music and touring and stuff. So we're not a newcomer, so to speak, even though we're probably new to 99.9% of the Eurovision audience, which I see as a big chance and a new field, and I'm looking forward to it.
So, let's just move on to the national final. You participate in Unser for Liverpool. Can I start off by asking you what made you want to participate in the German selection?
I mean, quite frankly, it's probably the biggest music competition on earth. And it was brought to our attention that it might be a good idea to try out, and we were very fond of the idea. But the main thing for us is when we are presented with an opportunity, or a stage, so to speak, it has to be on our terms, and it has to be on our terms in a way that we can present ourselves like we are, that we wear the makeup that we want to. We don't have to, I don't know, conform to a standard that's imposed on us, but we want to be us. And if we're given the stage for that, why wouldn't we take it? So we've applied for it and got through with it. And this year in Eurovision for Germany, the concept is way more diverse as well than the past few years. The past few years, it has all been very much the same in a way. In terms of it's very, very catered to a mass radio audience. And this year, it really isn't, while still being very, very radio friendly in a way, but there's a bit more of an edge to it for the majority of the songs, which I really, really like, because there has to be something new brought to the table by now from Germany, because we've all seen what the past didn't bring us.
So you will be participating with the song Blood and Glitter. Can I just start off by asking what the song is about?
Sure, yeah. I mean, there's always room for interpretation, right? But our idea behind the song is, apart from the whole visual thing with blood and glitter and the whole glam thing, first of all, blood and glitter are very, very contrasting words, and with a very contrasting visual to it. And I think in humans as well, there's a lot of there can be a lot of contrast, and usually that's perceived as a bad thing in a way, because people will tell you have to go one way or another. You can't have both things. You can't be you can't be more things than one, and you can't be what you want. And this song is about embracing the contrasts and the diversity that you have within yourself, and being empowered for that, and also being empowered for when you're in the face of adversity, to pull through, really. So yeah, that's what this song's about. In a way, it can also be perceived as a very political song for that matter, because when you talk about identification and diversity, you're easily in the realms of politics, which I like. I meant it that way, but yeah, everybody who listens to that song probably can and will put their own meaning to it. Yeah.
So what would going to Eurovision and representing Germany mean for you?
I mean, I'm not caring, and sorry that I say it that way. I'm not caring about the fact which country anyone is representing, really, because I don't think it's a competition for countries against each other. I think that's pardon my French, but that's a very stupid thing to say. It's like countries against each other. Why would that be? Why would you want that? In a way, it's to me, it's not about that. I mean, sure, we're representing Germany because we are from Germany, but it's more about people and I don't really like the word competition, but competing in a way with their music, their art, which comes down to personal taste at the end.
Mhm.
At least that's what I want it to be. I don't want it to be an event that's based on opinions that are formed by I don't like this country, or then again politics. Really, it's about which song, while we're already winning, being there, is the best, or do the audiences like the best, whatever language that might be, or from whatever country.
Like,
So yeah, sorry.
like I was just gonna say, I totally agree. I think it's like more about a celebration of music than countries comparing each other, and I think it should always be that.
Yeah, and for Germany, I think the motto for the preliminaries also is, or is it for the Eurovision in general, united in music or something, which I totally agree with. And it doesn't matter if the country doesn't matter.
So I'm going to ask a little bit about Eurovision. I don't know if you have, but do you have any memories of the competition? And what would your favorite Eurovision song of the past be if you?
I don't really have that many memories of the competition, because really, for Germany it hasn't, and for me personally it hasn't been that interesting for the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I have to say one of the most recent songs is probably my favorite song, which is Siete Buoni by Måneskin, because they're just an utterly great band. They perform well. They are performing as if they would have done it for years already, for centuries really, because they're all so authentic with what they're doing. The song is great. Yeah, I think that's my favorite from the past. Yeah.
So as we're speaking right now, we're only a couple of weeks away from the national final. How are your preparations going for Unser for Liverpool?
A couple of weeks is good. It's next week. Yeah, the preparations are going well. I mean, we don't have to practice the song over and over again. I mean, we will do, but it's not like we have to learn the song. We've toured the song already for a few shows this year, and we're very, very experienced in what we're doing. So the preparations is more in your head, like what I'm asking myself what it would be like, and I'm curious to see it. Obviously, I'm not that nervous, but that might follow. And also, obviously, there's preparations and meetings, communicating with the whole organizational side, and the creative direction, how the visuals will be, the whole stage performance should look like, the stage in general. With us especially talking about makeup and stuff, because we're a band that always wears a lot of makeup on stage. So talking about if that's possible with their makeup artists as well, because usually we do it on our own. We don't have makeup artists. We just do that. And all of that. So it's very, very much just organizing things. And then when you have a bit of downtime, you start going in your head like, oh, I wonder what that's going to be like. And I guess we will find out next week.
So just one more thing about Unser for Liverpool. Are you allowed to give us any insight into what your staging will look like in the competition? No.
Sorry. Yeah.
So,
I mean, sorry?
Sorry for saying the word competition then.
It's not a Voldemort thing or something. It's just I think it's not very fitting, but that's fine. Yeah, I can. I mean, if you look at our album aesthetics and you look at the video for Blood and Glitter, it's essentially that as a baseline. So there will be a lot of red and gold, but obviously we can't make it rain blood. I mean, we could, but that would suck for the other artists, and we all agreed on not doing that. And going back to other solutions for that, bigger solutions, better solutions also. So I can say the video is the baseline for it, and then transform that and elevate that onto a TV stage. Yeah.
So just one more question. So the band's been together a long time.
Yeah.
How has your sound evolved over the years?
That's a lengthy answer. I mean, with every album, starting out as sort of a dark rock, goth rock band, we've pretty much transformed with every album, and eventually hitting milestones in a way where the sound very, very differed from former albums, because it got more experimental and also more influenced by other genres that aren't dark rock and not at all gothic. And I really don't consider us, as opposed to other people, as a gothic band or something. We're really not. I mean, if you look at Blood and Glitter, for example, that is so 80s and so glam, paired with obviously something that's metal-ish. But that is Blood and Glitter. On our former album, Judas, the predecessor of Blood and Glitter, we've been very, very dark. Everything was white and black and gray, and it was very sinister in a way, very atmospheric, very heavy. Whereas now it's a bit more, well, obviously synthesizer driven. It's a bit more artificial in a way, because it pays homage to the 80s with all the synthesizer work. There's a bit more joyous energy to it, but a bit more raw as well. Yeah.
So I just want to thank you for this opportunity and say good luck for Unser lead for Liverpool. Is there anything you would like to say to the audience of that Eurovision site, or any of the Eurovision audience at all?
I mean, the most important thing I think I already said, with paying attention to that you're not voting for a country, but you're voting for the song that you like the most. When it comes to Eurovision, not the preliminaries, but Eurovision itself, doesn't matter if we're there or not. I just like that to happen, and also, I wouldn't be mad if people would vote for us. That's obviously. I would lie if I would say that. So yeah, but go with the song you like the most. Yeah.
That is all for this video. I would like to thank Pi for joining me today. Also, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, That Eurovision Site, to see more interviews and more Eurovision 2023 content in general. Also, be sure to give us a follow over on That Eurovision Site on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to stay up to date with all the Eurovision 2023 news, as well as following our podcast over at That Eurovision Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so you can be notified when new episodes of the podcast come out. You can also listen to all our video content over there, as well as our recaps and interviews. I think that all that's left for us to say now is bye.
Bye. Thank you.